Welcome back in one of the Better Struggle Plays YouTube channel. Today is Saturday, January 11th, and I'm back breaking down a loaded slate of games for Saturday in college basketball. Before we get to that, going to talk about the losers. Rutgers on the plus 2.5 going up against Purdue. They lost outright pretty heavily. I think there was like a 15-point loss. Did cut it to about 6 with 10 minutes left in the game. Purdue just flexed their muscles a little bit more down the stretch. Rutgers couldn't make a shot, especially Dylan Harper really struggled from the field. Maybe still getting over that sickness, I'm not sure, but he had one of his worst games of the season, playing his full minutes, aced it as much as he could, but just wasn't enough. The two players for Rutgers failed me, and it is what it is. 0-2 day. I'm going to try to sweep the board today. I like every single pick today, especially on the games. We have 4 games we're going to talk about, 2 player props we're going to talk about. First game is going to be Kansas going up against Cincinnati. I told you Kansas back at home, they were going to flex their muscles. They didn't in the first half, but they got another wake-up call in the second half. They allowed Arizona State to 8 total points in 17 minutes in the second half. They dominate Arizona State in the second half, winning that game by 19 points. Spread was minus 12.5 for Kansas. They did cover the spread. This is one of the best teams in the NCAA. I don't care what anybody says. They have some of the most talented players in the country. They have 3 of the best scorers in the country. They have a Hall of Fame basketball coach as their head coach as well. So Kansas on the road, been there, done that. This is the Big 12. Every game is a tough game. Every game is a tough environment. Cincinnati's a very good team. Cincinnati in the Big 12 is a very good team. They're a good basketball school. The problem I have with Cincinnati is that they haven't been able to score consistently, and they've lost 3 consecutive games, putting up 67, 67, 48. That is not good offensive numbers. They've lost to Kansas State, Arizona, and Baylor back-to-back games, 2 of them being on the road. The one loss at home against Arizona was by 5 points. Kansas is the underdog in this game. I'll say it again. I don't think there's any team more talented than Kansas this year. I will take Kansas on the money line. You got to win these games. You got to flex your muscles as the big dog in the Big 12 in these type of games. So I'm going to take Kansas on the money line. They have more scoring than Cincinnati. I love Jizzle James, but he is not enough to drop this Kansas team. I'm going to take Kansas on the money line as the play. Second play is going to be Iowa State going up against Texas Tech. I've got a couple more games to break down on the recap graphic, but we're going to stay in the Big 12 today because I've watched the Big 12 the most because I am a Jayhawks fan. I don't usually let that fandom affect my picks. I think Kansas will dominate Cincinnati in that game, but this is another team that I think is going to dominate Texas Tech. Texas Tech is getting way too much love. The line is actually flipped. Iowa State was plus 1.5 about 3 or 4 hours ago. They are now -1 going up against Texas Tech. At least the line is reflecting how these teams have been playing and how these teams have been playing other teams, because Iowa State, they have 1 loss against number 4 Auburn. They have 3 wins against top 25 teams. Texas Tech, they haven't played anybody. They've played nobody. They have 1 game against the top 25 team. That was Texas A&M. That was at home, and they lost by 5 points. Texas A&M, fine team. They're good. Iowa State runs through Texas A&M easily. Defensive game, Iowa State wins that game, though. Texas Tech has losses to St. Joseph, Texas A&M, and UCF. 2 of them being at home. That is unacceptable. Texas Tech, fun story. They score a bunch of points per game, but they've got another big dog in the Big 12 coming into their house. This is a game Iowa State should win. This is a game that teams in the Big 12 have to win on the road to get that Big 12 title. Iowa State, one of the best teams in the country. They will shut down Texas Tech defensively. Iowa State has also multiple scorers on their team, so I'm not worried about them offensively either. I'm going to take Iowa State on the money line as the second play of the day. Let's go to some player props for tomorrow. And we're going to start with Zerk Phelps of Texas A&M to go over his total points. Now, I talked about him a little bit whenever we took Wade Taylor, who was unfortunately out in that game. He was questionable going in. They pulled him about, 13 or 14 hours before the game. It was after I recorded, but I talked about Zerk Phelps on that breakdown. He's from SMU. I've watched him a lot over the last 2 years because I loved SMU last year with Chuck Harris, and this kid is a certified shot maker. He is exactly what Texas A&M needs right now because Wade Taylor still feels like he's a little bit banged up. In that game a couple days ago going up against Oklahoma, he put on an absolute show. 25 shot attempts, 34 points, 6 made threes in the game, his highest point total of the season. He is once again going up against a team who does not play defense. Alabama on the season, one of the worst defensive teams in the nation, 270th in the nation, and that is why Alabama in March will not be talked about as a team who can win the title. I guess they will be talked about as a team who can win the title, but they're not going to win it because they don't play any defense. Same year, different year, same Alabama team as last year. But Zurich Phelps in this game going to go over his total points. I think Taylor's still a little bit banged up. Phelps is a certified scorer. He will shoot the ball, shoot or shoot, take his over total points as the first play of the day there. And for the last player prop of the day, it's going to be Boogie Flan to go over his total points going up against Florida. And Florida's a very interesting team this season. They can get themselves in shootouts. We saw that with Kentucky, and they can get themselves in low-scoring games. We saw that against Tennessee, but I actually kind of like Arkansas in this game. College basketball is all about momentum. College basketball is all about home court advantage. Arkansas has lost back-to-back games. This is an SEC matchup. They cannot drop this game going up against Florida. If you're looking for a big underdog, I like Arkansas in this game. Even though I've said multiple bad things about Arkansas, I don't think they're a good team. But sometimes college basketball is about spots, and this is a good spot, I think, for Arkansas. Florida coming off that monster win going up against Tennessee. But we're going to take Boogie Flan in this one over his total points. I do think Florida showed some weakness, not in that Tennessee game, but against Kentucky for sure. They showed some weakness, especially on the perimeter and even on the inside, really, even though they've got monsters down low. But I think Boogie Flan will take advantage of the weak perimeter defense. He is a three-point shooter through and through. He's taken 6+ threes in 4 consecutive games. I love his over points in this one. He has had a game 24 points going up against Oakland 3 games ago. He struggled a little bit in the SEC play, only 12 points against Tennessee, 14 points against Ole Miss, but I like him in this game going up against Florida. I think this could be a shootout, and I think Arkansas could easily win this game. So I'm going to take Boogie Flan over his total points going up against a tough Florida team as the last play of the day. Let's go take a look at the other plays for tomorrow. We are going to be looking at 2 other games. I'm going to be betting one of them. It will be the A&M and Alabama game. Now, Wade Taylor, as I was reading a couple hours ago, he is most likely not playing in this game. So I also love Zurich Phelps even more because of that. But because Wade Taylor's not playing, they're going to have to play a different brand of basketball, and they like to push the pace against Oklahoma. They put up a lot of points against Oklahoma, especially in that second half because of Phelps. I think they will score a bunch of points in this game. Also, Alabama, I just said it on the breakdown, they don't really have a defense this season. 270th on the year. Alabama is the top scoring team in the nation as well. So I love the points in that game. Going to take the over 160.5 points. I know it's a lot. 80 points in the first, 80 points in the second. I get it. It's a lot of points. But again, Alabama does not play defense. Texas A&M has been known to play defense, but Oklahoma still put up a pretty big number on them at home in their last game. So give me the over in that one. The other game on there, Kentucky going up against Mississippi State. I like Kentucky because Mississippi State hasn't really played anybody this year. They've played a number 21 Memphis team. Whatever. That was at Memphis. They did win. Memphis is a pretty good team, but they're not like a Kentucky team. And other than that, Mississippi State hasn't played a top 25 team. They've been playing cupcake matchups at home all season, one of them being against South Carolina, winning that game by 35 points. I am not convinced Mississippi State's a good team yet, and I am convinced that Kentucky's a very good team. They've been battle-tested the entire way. I think they've played 4 or 5, maybe even 6 top 25 matchups already this season. I will take Kentucky against the spread. Or I guess I would lean Kentucky against the spread. Not going to take it as official play, but if you're looking for other plays, Kentucky against the spread. Also, I said Arkansas against the spread. I think that's a good spot to take Arkansas to win that game outright at home going up against Florida. So only official plays for tomorrow. Kansas money line, Iowa State money line over in the Alabama game, 160.5. Zurich Phelps over his total points going up against Alabama, and then Boogie Flan over his total points going up against Florida as the final play. Guys, it's going to do it for the college basketball picks and props for Saturday, January 11th slated games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please be sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe down below. See you guys next video, and thanks for watching.